Hello, I'm doing a live broadcast in my t-shirt here. I had asked Grandmaster Art Mason on his channel to talk about what are some of the issues that he's faced or that he's seen in other people too as an aging martial artist. And I think he may have taken it that I was talking about him aging, but it's not just, I didn't mean it that way, so I apologize if I offended with the question. But I just want to know what other people have seen and what they've experienced from martial artists or themselves in terms of what we do in terms of the martial arts as we get older. So if you have any little tidbits, words of wisdom, or even stories, put them below, and even put a link to a video below if you want to make your own video about it. Now me, I'm still in my 40s. I'm starting to knock on 50 though. And 50's starting to say, yeah. The issues I've mostly had to face have been in terms of flexibility, injuries, and time. Flexibility, I guess you would say, would be the most obvious and probably the hardest thing to keep. I'm still very limber, but I'm definitely not as limber as I used to be. This is an example I like to give. When I was 17, I didn't have to warm up. They made me warm up because they said it's a lifelong habit that you need and you must warm up. So fine. I will warm up just because the teacher said so. So I stopped doing it for a while. And when I came back to it, like in my mid and late 20s, I was still stretching every day. And if I ever felt like I had to do anything, I could still do it. So it really didn't click because I was stretching. I was still practicing kicks every once in a while, but it really didn't click until I went back to class. And when I went back to class, I noticed I had to warm up. Okay? I had to warm up. You're talking to a guy that could do a jump wheel kick cold. Even then, but even I could still do a jump wheel kick cold when I was like 27, 26. I had to warm up though. When I started going back to real classes, it's like, hey, I gotta warm up. Okay, now I'm loosened up. I can go. And I got to the point after a while where I could fall into a straddle split. I think I was in my early 30s when I could fall into a straddle split. So that's pretty good, period. But I can't do that now. I fell into the straddle split and I stopped working because I felt like my hips were getting too loose. And I made a mistake. I stopped working that stretch for 1 month. And I have never been able to do it like that again. I saw an 8-year-old do it back in the day. After I lost it, he could still fall. I can't fall into that split anymore. There's an internet video where it was a real tall young white guy. I think he's somewhere in Europe. It's funny because he's walking and he just falls into a front split. Just anywhere. I used to be able to do that. I could just walk, boom, fall into a split. Fall into a split like that. When I was walking to work and I slipped on some ice, instead of falling over, I just fell right into the split. I fell into the split, got up and kept walking. And people that saw me were like, I could do that. I can't do that now. Now, like, if I fall and I'm splitting, I'll get halfway there. I got to put my hands down and just catch myself and then roll and get back up. So, I have to stretch longer than I did when I was younger. And sometimes I've even got to warm up, like jog a little bit to stretch to get my best stretching in. Forget to split, stay with us. That's from Jeff Gar. So, yeah. So flexibility is definitely a thing that I've had to deal with as I've gotten older. Now, in terms of injuries, most of the injuries I've had to deal with, it hasn't necessarily been from class, with the exception of the time I got kicked in the eye. That's a whole nother video. But I managed to avoid that by being flexible and yielding like a blade of grass. I think in Aikido they called it melting. But I use like a yielding melting technique. Oh, Jeff Gar, As how old am I? I'm 47. I'm 47 years old. So I got hit by a Jeep when I was walking. When I was 17, I was in a car and the driver, he rear-ended someone. And luckily I had on a seatbelt because I came out of the seat and I was flying around the side of the car, but the seatbelt kept me in. I had my hands up like this to protect myself from glass. I had to do this and then turn my head so the glass wouldn't get into my face. And I had a little bit of whiplash from that. But see, again, because I was 17 when I went to class, I throw a kick. It was like, I throw a kick. And it was like, but it hurt a little bit. But that wore off after a couple of weeks. After this accident I've been in recently, that I'm processing the video for now, I don't know how long it's going to take me to recover from that thing. So, I don't know. So, in terms of injuries, that's what I've had to deal with aging. The third thing is time. As you get older and you have more responsibilities, you just don't have the time. Especially, I guess I'm in the middle age phase, so this is probably when I'm going to be the most busy in my life. And if it's not like my job that's going to keep me busy, I mean, I'm there 8 hours a day, then I got to commute back and forth. Then there's, I'm married. I still have one child at the time of this video that's still in high school. So she requires attention. My grown child requires attention sometimes too. So it's time. Having the time to practice and keep the proficiencies up like I want it. That's an issue as you get older. So I'm hoping I can live a long life so that when I'm of retirement age, I will have more time again. But who knows? I could be grandpa when I'm of retirement age, and maybe being grandpa will take up a lot of time, in addition to hopefully still being married. So, I don't know. So I had said time, I said injuries and flexibilities, but there are other things too that affect you as you get older when you're a martial artist. And one of those things is, finances. When you got to choose between paying a parking ticket or buying a martial arts product, when the water bill's due, you got a light bill due, even got a gas bill too, you hope that Jesus will work it out. But sometimes Jesus tells you to work it out by telling you, you can't sign up for that class right now. You got to pay this bill. You got to pay this credit card. You got to pay this. Got to pay that. Got to pay that. Got to pay this. Got to pay this. Got to pay that. So fortunately, what's helped me is some people have been willing to work with me with regards to financing for martial arts. And, you can shop around and find a class that you can afford, so that helps. But don't think that as you get older that money will be an issue. So let me talk about the phases I've been through, and then I'm going to stop this video. So I've only gotten up to middle age. So when you're a child, if you take martial arts, and I didn't take formal lessons as a child, guy in the neighborhood came and taught me. Because, well, I'm not going to put his business out there. It's nothing bad, but he came to our neighborhood and taught for a little bit. And see, when you're a child, you're not paying. So if your parents can afford for you to take lessons, you take lessons. Even with me, my mother couldn't afford for me to take lessons, but somebody was teaching it for free. I'll say, because he was going out with a lady that lived 2 houses down. I played with her kids, so he just taught us because he was nice like that. And I still use what he taught. Taught me three levels of punching and a couple of kicks, and that was very useful. So when you're a child, everything is like abracadabra. It's instant because you're not paying. When you become a teenager, I see when kids get teenage years, they get interested in other activities, just like mine did. That's why my kids aren't there anymore. When they became teenagers, after about junior, senior year, they lose interest, or they start doing other stuff, even if they do have interest. So that's an issue that you have when you're a teenager. But physically, you're at your best. And like I said, when I was a teenager, I didn't even have to warm up. I could just go in there and get going. When your 20s come, you might be in college and or you're working. That's when you still have problems like middle age in terms of time, resources of time, because you might be working or going to school too much to go to class. Or you may be dating, you may be in a relationship, and you got to spend time with your date or mate instead of coming to class. That's something I did. Spent time with my now wife, then girlfriend. So that's going to eat up on time. But you still have energy. You still have a lot of energy when you're in your 20s. You have almost as much energy as you did when you were a teenager. So that means like you can go out to the club and still get up and get to class the next morning. You might feel a little, oh yeah, because I remember when I had young instructors one time, they'd be talking like, oh man, yeah, I was at the club, y'all, yeah. And they still could come and teach class though. But once you start getting into your 30s and your career really starts taking off, most people, especially in this area where I live, if they're in their 30s and they have a career going, it's probably in town. And unless you're fortunate enough to have telecommute, you're going to spend probably 3 hours a day minimum going back and forth to work. That 3 hours a day, if you could work closer to home, you could spend practicing. But you can't because you're in the car or you're on the subway or you're on the bus waiting to go to work, waiting to come home. And then if the bus breaks down, that's what used to get me. About, 3 neighborhoods ago, I lived right by the bus stop. I could walk out the house and get on the bus. I'm like, yeah, I could really practice when I get home. Then the bus is late. There's an accident. Or there's some kind of police situation in the neighborhood where we have to wait. We have to wait to be able to just go on and go back and forth. So this is the advice I give my students, and then I'm going to close. You adults, if you've got kids, they want to do martial arts, you should do it too. Because you can all do it together, and there's time that you can put in your martial arts practice that you're also spending with your kids, and it's a good way to bond. So you can get out of the house with the kids, and you're all doing something that you all like. So that's a good way for you to get your martial arts time in if you have kids, because you're doing it with them. Okay? And if you don't have kids, if you're a child yourself, please get that black belt as soon as possible, because you're never going to have this much time again. Probably not until you're at least over 60. If you manage to retire early, beautiful, then you will have time to come back into martial arts. But I would say at least till you about 55, you're not going to have the kind of time that you have as a teenager to train, so you should train then. You people in your 20s, please remember, you're still young. Try to get that black belt now. At least get a first-degree black belt now while you still have the energy to do it. Because in any other phases in life, if you're not bringing your kids into it and you're still of career age where you got to work a 9 to 5, it's hard to find that time. Plus, the older you get, the tighter you get. Oh, and one more thing. Prescriptions. As we age, we end up on prescriptions. They have side effects. Talk to me when you've taken a judo, you're in a judo competition, and you realize you're feeling the dizziness side effect that's on the side of your high blood pressure medicine like I was. And I'd ask the doctor, can I compete on this stuff? Oh, yes, you can compete. I get in there, it's like, I feel dizzy. Then I went over side effects may include dizziness. Side effects may include dizziness. Didn't normally feel dizzy, but no one was trying to throw me for a bone, were they? And because I got the Taekwondo black belt first, I wasn't on any prescriptions then. So I didn't feel that in Taekwondo competitions. I felt it in the judo competitions because I was older when I got that black belt. And I was old enough for them to start putting me on prescriptions. So, thank you for watching this video. Please do me this favor. Please don't feel insulted. I'm not trying to put people down, okay? I just want to help the people that are younger than us know what they're in for. So if you got issues that you've experienced, other people have experienced in terms of as we age as martial artists, please put them below. If you got tips for us as instructors on how we need to treat beginners, intermediate, and advanced students as they age, little tips and tricks of the trade, please put that below. And how you manage to continue your practice as you age. Okay? Please put that below. How you deal with your injuries and things like that. You don't have to put all of your business out there. Let's just get some wisdom so we can help keep the whole community going. Because this is supposed to be a lifelong thing, right? That's right. Peace.